Rising family. Nice and early. I'm gonna let y'all chill. I'm gonna let it air out, like I say. Let it breathe. Let people join in. And so enjoy this. Enjoy this song. Peace from me. By thy grace, let there be peace. By thy grace, let there be peace. You guys are joining me in my room this morning. Yeah, my hair's a little messy. Peace surrounding me. Good morning, Grand Rising Michael. Thank you for joining me. We're going to talk about some interesting stuff this morning. It's important that we be at peace. It's important that we emit peace from our hearts. Love is the strongest force, created or not created. Source is love. That's where we can get that peace that surpasses understanding. Satnam Sari Waheguru. Satnam Sari Waheguru. I hope your day is well. I wish you nothing but wholeness and balance today. Fullness, abundance. All that you are abundance. Satnam Sri Waheguru. Satnam Sri Waheguru. Satnam Sri Waheguru. Satnam Sri Waheguru. Any plans today, guys? What are your plans today? Hanging out? You're just gonna hang out and spend some time with me today? Got a lot of family to see today. You're just gonna stay home and enjoy some time off. Satnam Sri Waheguru. Satnam Sri Waheguru. Satnam Sri Waheguru. Spending time with the fam. First year not doing Christmas, huh? You know what? I like drinking out of wood, Miss Red. There's a great deal to do with
something that's for working out and going out. You know, I'm always jumping from one thing to the next, so my bra's got to keep up. So she said she really liked this fabric.
That's interesting. Your first year not doing Xmas. I've got a ton of reasons why we don't celebrate Christmas in the traditional sense. But I'd be interested in hearing your reasons, brother. What is it that caused you to stop celebrating this holiday, holy day? So that's cool that you're hanging out with family, though, man. I've been sick, and so when you face your own mortality, you realize how precious every moment is, right? And so I appreciate y'all hanging out with me this morning. This is my medicine. I did that yesterday and I got it all over my teeth. And when that stuff gets all over your teeth, and now it's all over the roof of my mouth, it's all over my teeth. So we're going to talk a little bit about our abilities. Is there a reason why we've had things hidden from us? Is there a reason why we've been deceived about who we are, what we are? Been doing the dosing every day. And so with the question I asked, if you guys aren't, if the chat's not visible to you, I did ask Michael why he's not celebrating Christmas for the first year, and consumerism and the fact that it has nothing to do with what it's supposed to be. It's actually in opposition of everything Christ stood for. It took me a couple of years to actually put my foot down. You know what, Michael? It's I'll turn the music down a little bit. I am going to keep it on. I usually turn it completely off, but I actually wasn't feeling good this morning, so I didn't do my meditations or anything this morning. I jumped right out of bed and joined the broadcast. It's been a little rough, and so I'm glad you're here, Miss Red, as well. I think that's something that the world is missing. Flash Gordon, hey, Philip Bernhardt Schmucky. I love you guys. I really do. This is what the world is missing, is those good vibes, Miss Red. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get caught up in our own vibe, and it ain't even our own vibe. Check it out. We get caught up in the world's vibes, right? Being sick, that's one thing that I know. I was planning on doing today, but I know my daughter might have some things with something to do with her boyfriend and his family. But I know I need to get out of the city. I need to get up into the hills, and I need to get away from the buzz and the just the vibrational frequencies that are being emitted throughout our society and throughout throughout this world, man. We really do got to. Hey, Fifth World, good to see you. I'm so glad to see you in the chat. I'm so glad to see. I'm amazed at the way that Source just feeds you wisdom to feed us. You know, Fifth World, that's something that a lot of people fail to see is in Revelation. Revelation 12, the woman flees into the woods, right? And that's the church. That's the true church. After being raped and pillaged and abused and held in bondage, the woman finally flees. But there's uh, a man child that was birthed from that woman. And you are that man child, that woman child, this world. I am that man child. You feel me? And we're being prepared to feed that woman in the wilderness as she flees to the hills. And so the way that Source provides for us and continues to feed us truths that, you know, are really, you know, Michael mentions, you know, that we get ridiculed when we're Theodora, good to see you. Good, just man, I'm glad to see y'all here in the chat. And but exactly his story. What about her story? And so we've got this spirituality and divinity that has been taken and masculinized, and the divine feminine has been forgotten. And I think that that's why it's so encouraging for me to see. You know, I was reading in scripture that it was women that ministered to Christ, right? It was women who really propped up his ministry. It was women who cared for him. It was women who heard from the Spirit. And we have this beautiful picture of what women are, even in this masculinized religion, right? We see a great veneration for the mother, but it's just amazing how things have been taken and twisted, and our abilities, our supernatural abilities, have been hijacked from us, man. I want to read some of these. But yeah, so thank you for the work that you do, Fifth World. I know that just like with a bunch of the other, I'll be honest with you, I've got quite a few people that I subscribe to, but not very many people that I watch and that I take in. And Fifth, your work is some of the work that that Sources led me to. Good morning, Brad and Tandy. And so, but your work is some of the work that Source has connected so many dots. It's used you in so many ways to just to connect those dots. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it, but it's like we all have the puzzle pieces, but sometimes we need a little help finding out where that specific piece goes. And it's amazing. It's amazing. ESP Israel. ESP Israel. I'm going to toss that up. Because that's something that that's one of the things that was usurped from us. One of the powers that was usurped from us was the fact that extrasensory perception, that we could see things and we can hear things that are far beyond this one octave of the electromagnetic spectrum that we can perceive. We only perceive 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, and so it's amazing that we have the ability and capability to perceive beyond that 1%, that one octave. It's literally 1 octave of the electromagnetic spectrum that we perceive. And it's just amazing that we can perceive so much more. Family, I am gonna let y'all listen to this song because my battery is going low and I don't want to cut out, guys. And so enjoy this song by Israel. And then there's a peace mantra that's gonna come on right after. Just sit tight while I find my charger. I think it's upstairs, guys. I will be right back. Thank you so much for your patience. I love you guys. Again, y'all know how I do it. I do it raw. So I'll be right back, family. You find me somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you did to oh why can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies all blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. See friends shaking and singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up with the clouds up far behind. Here where trouble melts like a lemon drop, high above the chimney top, that's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Wow. All right, guys. My battery is about to die and I cannot find my charger, so we might actually reconvene here in a bit. What do you guys think? We're all here. Do you want me to just start and then pick up if I lose you guys? It's really frustrating. Connection is also starting to not be too stable, and so we'll see. You know what? I'm gonna jump into it, and we're gonna get started. And I actually got a little video for us to watch regarding this. And so this might not be my hour and a half. I know my shows usually run about an hour and a half, and so we might only end up getting about 15 more minutes in. I think that's what my battery's telling me. Yeah, I've got about 15% left on my battery, about 19 minutes. And so we're going to try and jam in as much as we can. And, well, thank you for checking in later, Fifth World. It's an honor to have you in the chat, and it's an honor to have you checking out the content. And so, I am gonna just dig in, and we'll get going and see how much we can get done before before the battery cuts us off. And so, it's a trip that the Roman Catholic Church has done so much to keep things hidden from us, especially our sovereignty, right? Especially the fact that humans do have supernatural powers, really do. And so it's good to see you, Tanya. I'm glad to see you jump in the chat. Always a pleasure to see you gracing the channel. And so, Max Planck, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He's a father of quantum physics. That's what he's been coined as, right? That's a title that he's been given. Back in 1944, he demonstrated that the entire universe, everything is energy, right? That we live in an illusory world, that we live in a holographic world, that matter is malleable. Moreover, Greg Braden, if you haven't heard of Greg Braden with the Heart Math Institute, he's brilliant. He's done a lot of work with and for the Heart Math Institute, and he's researched and studied this matrix that we live in for more than 20 years, more than 2 decades. And he reached the same conclusion, that we live in a vibrational universe, right? This electric universe we live in is based on vibrational frequencies. Everything is connected by these vibrations. Of course, we can't see the matrix for what it is. Some of us can. Some of us can. Some of us can see beyond the veil. And that veil is growing thinner and thinner. And as that veil grows thinner and thinner, we can see clearer and clearer exactly what it is that these waveforms are expressing. And it's about information, consciousness, right? That consciousness and that information comes from outside of what we see as matter. Okay, so it's like the spaces. I've spoken about this before. The spaces in between the neural synapses in our brain has been measured recently. And scientists have found that space, that micro space, very tiny micro space in between the neural pathways in your brain, is actually infinite. How can that be? How can this little tiny space in between all of your neural pathways of your brain be infinite? Well, from that infiniteness springs forth everything. Tanya, this is one of the things that I've struggled with, is this realm, right? Like, oh man, going through this awakening, it's been one of those things where it's like, this is a trap. This reincarnation system, it's a light trap system. It's to trap the human, right? That divine light that breaks down into a full spectrum of hues, of colors, right? As it comes through through the firmament. We start out as a pure light, starlight. And as we fall into this existence, that light is broken down and fragmented into different hues. We become rainbow children. Yet we don't see this because it's in that it's outside of that one octave that we can perceive. And so this realm, what is it for? Is this a light trap? Are we here trapped here Because check it out. I think what Source has been showing me is that we are his children. And when I'm teaching my 14-year-old son about safety, about using the tools that we use, because before I got sick, I ran a construction company, and tool safety is huge. I've been teaching my son about tool safety since he was little. And this summer, when I took him to work with me for the first time this summer, he was running power tools by himself, unsupervised. He was using circular saws. He was using a worm drive saw. He was using table saws. He was using nail guns. He was using these things because he knew how to utilize them. He knew how to handle the tools that were given to him, the tools that could be very dangerous in the hands of somebody who does not know how to handle them, very dangerous for themselves more than the people around them. Think about it. When you're working with saws, when you're working with nail guns, and what you're working with all these tools and shit, man, who's most likely to get hurt first? Well, I tell you what, in construction all my life, when I got hurt because of I was trying to be in a hurry, or I was just doing something irresponsible with that tool that caused me to cut myself, it was usually me that was hurt first. It was 99% of the time. I don't think anybody ever got hurt on a job site because of my irresponsibility. It was always me. I'd cut myself. I don't know how many times I've cut my fingers. My hands are working man hands. I've got scars. I've got scars on my thumb where you can see I've pretty much cut the tip of my thumb off, and me, the stubborn ass that I can be, get a rag and some duct tape, man, and just tape it up and get back to work. We'll see if it needs to be stitched after work. You know what I'm saying? Things don't work that way spiritually, family. We can't just duct tape that shit, man. When we, in the other realms, when we act, when we think, when we feel, and things manifest, they manifest immediately, and they manifest with an effect that's just like dropping that pebble in the pond, right? And you see those waves extend out, and there's nothing you can do once you drop that pebble in the pond. There's nothing you can do to go and gather all those waves in the water and bring them back to that beginning point. There's no way to do that. And so in our era, in our youth, we have to learn to use the tools, utilize the tools that we've been given, because we've been given the full inheritance of Christ. We are Christ. We have that office. We have that seat. We are the body. He is the head. And so we have the abilities that he came to tell us that we have. The error is being fixed. There was a mutation. I want to just throw that up. With the way that the omniverse worked, now it will work for the man instead of the man working for the omniverse. That's a beautifully put, Fifth World, because I think that when you start coming to the realization that all of these things that we've had, this great deception and all the things that we start hearing when we come into these truths, right? When we come into the realization that we have access to many more dimensions that we've even been made to believe exist. I mean, so many of us don't even realize how many dimensions exist. And that's my warning for my batteries, so we might die out soon here. But again, if I lose you guys, just look for another show. I'll set up another show probably around 10 or sometime before noon Mountain Standard Time. If we don't finish this one, we'll just be picking right back up. I've been thinking about running a marathon with this show. I was going to do it yesterday on Facebook and just do a continuous live stream, 24 hours, 48 hours, just go. And I don't have my charger, so I can't do that right now. But when my wife gets home with the truck. I'm pretty sure my charger's in the truck, because I planned on doing an ongoing live stream yesterday, and my son had practice. He's a fencer. He fences, and so he had fencing practice last night, and I was going to take the device with me and just continue live streaming to try and raise funds for our fundraiser for our GoFundMe, to help with our financial needs. And so I was going to do that yesterday, left my charger in the truck. And so anyway, we'll continue on until we die. I know, right? Well, that's what sucks, Flash, is that I should have more one charger. I have a whole pile of chargers over here for all of our other devices except for the Surface. The Surface Pro is the only thing that we only have one charger for. And so I know, right? How could that be? And I'm kicking myself because I knew I had a show this morning, and I knew that the device needed to be charged. Vision in Christ, glad to see you. And I do want to answer your question. Let me see. Stick built. Michael had a question. I'm trying to find it. Does anyone else here not celebrate? Do you face ridicule from friends and family? I have a few people that verbally lashed out when I told them I wasn't doing it. They refused to hear my reasons. That's generally the consensus across the board, Michael. Even when you give your reasons, even when you state your convictions, it's the programming. It's the mental programming. It is the Jesus programming. You see, Yahshua was a beautiful, wonderful man that taught so many of the truths from the Father, that he and the Father were one, and